finally
There
talking
was like
about it.
for a long time, there was a Craven movie that was going to be the third movie because things weren't working out and all sorts of different stuff. And John pitched me this Craven movie, which actually was really cool. I don't want to talk about it in case that movie ends up happening down the line, but it was fun. Making these films is incredibly tough and physical, especially when you're playing a character like Spider-Man. We all believe so much in these characters and we give it 110%. I know in my fight scene with the Goblin, like I bust my hand up, like my knuckles were all bloodied and you know, we were really going for it. We were putting everything into it. And I remember on the last day of shooting that fight scene, when John said cut, Willem and I both just collapsed to the floor and just because we were exhausted and we just had given him everything. I remember just chugging Red Bulls to like try and keep my energy going.
We are in the planning stages right now. But what we're focused on is getting everybody to come and see No Way Home.
You know, I think we first mentioned it. I think the Ancient One mentions it in Doctor Strange 1 when she's taking Stephen Strange through that sort of mind warping journey. And it was always one of the most powerful storytelling tools in the comics. One you have to wield carefully because it can get overwhelming. But one that now with, you know, obviously the 60 to 80 year history of the comics, now we have a 20 plus history of the movies, and there are enough characters that we can start playing with it that way. So it was, and we mention it obviously as part of Mysterio's ruse in Far From Home. But no, I don't think it was. I think the toys that were added to the toy box increased with that Fox acquisition, but it didn't change the timetable on when we were introducing the idea of the multiverse.
Does feel like this Spider-Man movie and the upcoming Doctor Strange movie could really reshape the MCU in a completely new direction. Is it safe to say that this is like a dramatic? Is there anything what like with those two films? Is it safe to say this is like a dramatic change coming to the MCU?
I think yes. I mean, whenever we tap into an entire subgenre of the comics or an entire realm of storytelling possibility from the comics, that just increases what we're able to do in the movies. I would add, for people following along with the MCU, Loki in the final episode of Loki to that, in terms of how and why sort of what you are about to see is possible and why it's happening.
Is the multiverse the first steps towards the eventual Secret Wars movie?
Every movie is a step towards the next one, Steve.
Sure, I understand. Anyway, I'm looking forward to an eventual Secret Wars thing. You've made so many challenging movies running Marvel. How would you rank this Spider-Man movie if you were going to give it like a 1 through 10 in terms of the difficulty of pulling this one off?
I mean, they're all a 10. Any movie is a 10. Eternal, Shang-Chi, Black Widow from this year were all 10s in terms of how hard the universe doesn't want movies to happen for some reason. And you have to fight against everything to bring them to fruition. You know, this one, it's often the people you're working with, and Amy Pascal and John Watts and the whole team between the Marvel Studios team and the Sony team work so well together and are so passionate about Spidey and this character that makes everything much easier. But I think, you know, going back to Civil War and sort of having an idea for a movie that is based entirely on what actors and what characters we can get to work together and shoot on a single day. When that worked, it gave us the ambition for movies like Infinity War, Endgame, and I would include No Way Home into that level of ambition for sure.
The ending of the recent Venom sequel puts Venom in the MCU, which a lot of fans are overjoyed about. How long had you been planning on doing something like that? Or how long had that been in the works?
Well, I mean, you look at the obvious comic connotations between Venom and Spider-Man, and it's inherent. So the minute Sony made their Venom movie and it worked as well as it did, and Tom Hardy became as iconic as he has become as Venom, then the obvious questions and how do we start to merge them?
It's always great to be with John Watts. I love him. I trust him so much as a director, and he's so brilliant and so fun to be around. So with each installment, I get to know him a little better. And we get to even explore more ideas that we had from the beginning that might happen later, or we can pick up threads together since we've had these 3 films together.
How much did you actually get told when you first signed on about like the arc of, May, or was it sort of like, film by film you've been learning?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not exactly what I was told from the beginning, but it's turned out okay.
Right.
It's surprising. It was surprising to me to hear John Watts say, I want to treat this like an independent film. We're just going to be us, our little ensemble of actors. And that's how we're going to treat this. That's what the vibe is going to be like. And it's very loose. He keeps a very loose set, a very improvisational set, a lot of character development and things that happen in small indies, and where I'm comfortable and where he's comfortable. And so yet he can hold the scope of the epic technological feats and things like that. But it was surprising to me for him to approach it that way, and that it works that way.